and sis and everybody was around, and I said, and they were over having that shit. What was discussing? I said, I did feel good because I wanted to just rip the cover off all the bullshit. I wanted to just say
all the bullshit.
But you know what? I got a 35-year-old cousin up there.
You just want to enjoy the moment.
He's a brilliant mind. He got a smart mind. He's dealing in petroleum, engineering, and oil with a company. They recruited him here, Connecticut, New York. He's working at a bank. He's kind of like I said, I have a conversation with one-on-one. Don't need no audience. Because when you want to get somebody, you want to sit down with him and chill. He likes smoke weed.
What's the name of it?
He likes smoking a little weed. He goes when we chill, puff on coffee, and just talk. I was listening to him. He telling my sister, oh, all of that shit she's talking about with the white man. You still on that victim shit.
Victim shit.
You fuck
can't be on that mode, man.
But you're female too. But you're a woman. That's the female.
But they made it like that for them, bro. They made it like that for them,
so anything that's victim, and you pass it on. She's victim. She like victims.
They made them like that.
And guess what? That's what I said. You chose which one.
Yep.
Can't blame the system, who's president, who's doing whatever. And shit, during Obama, I know why you all like Obama. He did everything for you motherfuckers.
Because you gotta look at his...
He opened every door, so what you complaining about? You got 8 years of that sissy. Ain't no sissy.
Yeah,
but
sissy, he's sissy.
Yeah, but she came, man.
Yeah. You got sensitive.
You just talk to them, because they know. I was even talking to her. She said, gay men, they respectable. She said, but them faggots. She said, that's a whole different thing.
Because they twisted the joke.
She said,
they mindset for sure. They already twisted already. Yep, they already twisted. They even twisted her.
Got that real feminine male.
Will cut your face.
They do all kind of bitch,
shit,
crazy, male, female shit.
That twisted shit can be twisted.
Tank, fuck all up your windows.
All that.
They fuck your windows up. Yeah. They tear your windows up.
Come to your job. You don't even know a bitch. You just told the bitch something in the motherfucking club. Bitch, get your crazy, retarded, stank ass away from me, you twisted bastard. And next thing you know, at your motherfucking work.
So I mean, I'm just saying, man. But it's, man. I respect. This generation. My sister represents old school female gay, liberal. Old school, but. I was sitting up one night talking to her about tribes, I said, everybody black just ain't gonna speak, thinking the same, be the same. That's the problem. Because we gotta recognize our tribe. We gonna be in agreement with the motherfuckers. We gonna be in agreement because we are the same tribe. You and me, we from the same tribe. It's just, your clan, your set within the construct of the tribe was Novlands. We all got along. Our ancestors from the tribe we came from, they got along. It's just tribal. Everybody ain't, so it's okay. Respect that, we can mutually agree on shit, but we can disagree. You don't have to follow me, man, but my shit tight.
And I say that,
I'm trying to advance a cause, not for motherfuckers, beat your ass shit in the street, because we gotta do that shit. Nope. You do, man. There's all kind of ways.
I live.
Bitches and look at these movement times. If you look at these movement times,
what's the name of it?
When you show some film, it's just.
What's the name of it?
What's that? That shooting. It came off of the shooting at the school in Florida. They put Florida shooting.
New movement after Florida shooting.
You gonna get it. Oh, there we go. Survivor announced
That's the actors. That's all of them. That's all of them. That's all of them. Now, let me stop right there for say this here. Now, after you see this here, I'm gonna go and show you where they had them at the fucking bombing where the people who've been lost.
You don't see no real niggas. If none of this shit, I'm just going. I want to see the picture.
I know.
Too.
I know.
No real brothers look like me and you in this shit.
You the one that they talk to.
Cause real niggas know weapons and shit.
No bullshit. They no bullshit. They.
Fort Lauderdale over the weekend demanding tighter gun control laws. Other groups are planning a series of protests across the country during the next several
Never
weeks.
again.
Now watch it. Now watch it. I'm gonna put that never again. But
I think it's the never again movement.
Look, and another thing.
Some shit like that.
Another thing, and you know this here, and I know this here. If you take a motherfucking gun away from him, you gonna be that person that you take the gun away.
You know, the whole mind construct behind this shit. They want to declare martial law, and then you can't fight. You be helpless.
I got one for you. Remember how we were saying we live in cause and effect. What goes around comes around. I remember when I was a kid, Dave, I was laughing at these people throwing rocks at tanks. I never understood the overstand to get what that shit was really about. They had took the people guns. All they had to throw was rocks.
And then too, when you have protests like that, you know, they got weapons. They got Molotov cocktails. They got weapons, but it's a serious demonstration without coming to shooting. Because them motherfuckers know that shooting ain't
right. Like I said again, them motherfuckers throwing rocks at them tanks and them rocks bombing, bottles.
Yeah, the tanks. No, I mean, we ain't gonna blow up.
And that was when the first time you saw that Chinese lady lay down and the tank didn't run over her monkey ass. And I was saying to myself, because they wouldn't let that, they didn't allow us to see that on TV. But then, right after that, they start showing on YouTube, motherfuckers get ran over with tanks, cars, and everything.
Shit.
They call it.
And that's just ignorant, man. Look, man.
They call it snuff out films after that. They call it snuff films.
I'm 62 years old, and I know people had guns as long as I can live.
Right.
And I know
a gun ain't never, like I said, a gun ain't never killed about out of a parent pulling the trigger.
That don't have fascination with guns other than it's just there to protect, and that's it. They don't.
Because I say it again to you, Dave. A gun don't kill nobody, but let somebody pull the trigger. Somebody got to pull the trigger. Somebody got to be at the end of that motherfucker being fired. You can't take nobody fucking gun away from the trigger.
Civilians. Let's keep this operative.
Yeah.
Civilians.
Because I said like you said,
they stand to lose the most.
Right. Because I said like you said, a criminal gonna get him a gun.
Because I'm
a criminal gonna get him a gun. That's what I'm talking about. Law-abiding. I'm saying they take the guns away from people. That mean you can't go buy none. So therefore, a criminal gonna get him one.
Because I mean, you know, people who live in neighborhoods, they have to protect themselves.
They gotta protect themselves.
People take advantage of people that
once they know they ain't got no gun.
They don't have no guns.
I never come on, man.
Go in their house and get their shit. You know? Motherfuckers ain't gonna relinquish their guns, bro. And this be the last state. They ain't come bring that protest shit to Texas. You bring that?
Dave.
They take that motherfucker DC.
Dave.
Yo, even Florida ain't really for that shit neither, man. Florida's a wild motherfucker.
I say that
all. You know, Miami, all the shit's in Florida's wild motherfucker.
I say to all y'all people out there in TV world, whoever could watch or listen to this here, when you look at, it's no way possible they gonna take the guns away from the people here in Houston, Texas. There's no way possible they can take the guns away from the people here in Houston, Texas without a fight. It will be a bloody fucking mess. Them boys ain't getting them guns here. But this is what the dude said. How they had flooded them out, and then went in there and got guns and shit. That's the easy way to do it.
100 students plan to visit Florida's legislature tomorrow to call for a ban on assault weapons.
Look at the face of it. Look at the face of it. Look at the face of it.
Got no gangster nigga.
Never again movement. Look at the face of never again movement. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it.
Good morning. The students told us they are fighting for change for the 17 victims memorialized here. That's why they're getting on buses tomorrow to go to the state.
And as Adrian Dees, she used to be a beauty pageant contestant. That's how she got into the industry. And then she wears attire. She worships the Saturn god. She like a lot of motherfuckers in Hollywood do it in entertainment shit.
Yeah.
They worship the Baphomet. They worship all these entities, Cush and Nimrod from the Bible. They venerate these because.
There you go. That boy be all.
Look at the face of it.
That boy be all we talk. Him.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the one thing about your generation that can really spark change here?
The fact that we're getting shot. And I hate that it took hitting me right at home for me to get involved with this, but I just have to forgive myself for that and keep moving.
The thing is,
they're trying to make this motherfucker so serious. See his face, see his mainstream media.
College acceptance letters. In my mind, I can't think about anything now except change.
Nigga, I saw one where.
And this bitch.
Look, I saw
female.
one. I saw one day where they had to do different takes. You know how they got the secret outtake? Somebody been filmed. Because they were laughing. Because they get laughing and shit. They're laughing and shit.
Yeah, because there's all kinds of shit going on. They're all actors.
Yeah.
They're all actors.
Because you know, like I know, Red. I mean, they
have the motherfuckers. They will make themselves entertainment and shit. Gay bitch. Hollywood loves her. This motherfucker here, he has a political background. So somebody in his family is either a senator, a governor. If you go his background, there's got to be some political affiliation somewhere with him. He's in acting school too. She is, he is, all of them. They in acting school. None of them are like political activists in their particular school.
But like I say, they ain't getting no genuine people for to do some shit that really happened to them. Because they couldn't.
And then they got the little pretty biracial. They got the pretty biracial go interview them.
With the March on Washington next month, how does a march bring change?
They did a march a couple days ago. They did it a couple days ago.
We got the Me Too movement, and along with those women, it's our turn, and it's the grieving students' turn to put an end to this and be heard.
We're going to make ourselves so loud, so brazen that they won't be able to ignore us in the White House. This is all about gaining a platform so that we can discuss with them, creating common sense gun laws and stricter gun legislation.
We want assault rifles off the market.
Automatic, semi-automatic have no place in civilian society.
Is it a slippery slope? Do we start with AR-15?
But they right though about that though.
Gun rights are taken away from people.
That's the thing.
We have a right to live. At this point, what does it mean to have rights to have guns?
That's a government psyop.
Yeah, it's psyop.
This is kind of conversation going on in this movement because the government, see, that's one
they
thing.
Expect millions to stand with them when they march. We asked how they could affect real change, as many of them aren't even old enough to go to the polls.
Oh, no.
And they all in time of shooting. This should be a national, because somebody's shooting a black. And this 17 got killed here, and this dude hollering and shit. But hey, man, now, go to Chronicles of Judah 144. This is my boy.
Chronicles of Judah 144.
Okay. Let's see. Scroll down. I'll see what's also okay. Go no, because he's gonna talk about. Go down. Just go slow. Go slow. Little black males in L.A. Drew Starbuck is not that one is. Tony Robbins got fucked up in the Me Too shit. It's going down. Little Rats claiming one Starbucks. He said that shit was gonna happen. Go on there. Let's see. I wanna see that.
See if I say Chronicles of Judah is recent.
It's a Chronicles of Judah on the it's not Black Panther.
Chronicles of Judah's recently.
Go Chronicles of Judah 144 recent.
Right, this recent right here.
No, it's not his. Okay, going down. I know his shit. Yeah, that's 5 months ago. Go ahead. 8 months ago.
That's 2 months ago.
Yeah, go. I say Chronicles of Judah on the Never Again movement. Chronicles of Judah 144 on the Never Again movement.
Chronicles of Judah 144 on the Never Again movement.
There you go. Bam.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said again, without my voice recognition, I can't go nowhere.
So the aftermath of the mass school shooting that occurred at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on quote-unquote Valentine's Day, a.k.a. the Lupercalia, which demands a blood sacrifice to the god Pan, the CBS Morning News had a very interesting segment in which they interviewed two of the figureheads of the fledgling #NeverAgain movement, that being Mr. David Hogg and Ms. Emma Gonzalez, who both come under scrutiny due to them being basically the tip of the spear in the new attack against the NRA. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
As many as 500,000 people are preparing to march in Washington this weekend to fight for stricter gun control. Many of them will be high school students. The event follows a nationwide walkout last week inspired by the school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Students at about 3,000 schools protested gun violence since the deaths of 17 people at Stoneman Douglas High School last month. Survivors have mobilized the Never Again movement. Their goal is to overcome...
You don't see no real niggas out there.
In an effort to influence
okay, with everywhere you see.
It's bullshit, that's why.
Understand something, and I've mentioned this before. When you see the term movement involved in something, 99% of the time, it's Marxist, which means 99% of the time, it's Luciferian. What do I mean by Luciferian? It means that it has a certain agenda behind it to help move along what they call the great work, which is to try to reinvigorate, to bring to fruition the apostasy that was started in the ancient world by Cush and Nimrod. When you look at how many of these high school students are being mobilized, they don't really understand what they're doing. They just want to be a part of something, which makes them such easy pawns and such easy targets. Because we're living in the age of the hashtag. Everything has to have a hashtag in front of it.
Yeah.
That basically...
Hey, look, I hashtag, and they go to it, I hashtag, why not tell the truth?
It's the hashtag generation,
It's like what authorizes something. Once you put a hashtag in front of something, then it officially becomes recognizable. It's something that the media can use to push towards the viewer, to intrinsically tell the viewer, look, this is real, because it has a hashtag in front of it, and people are being galvanized by it. What this movement really reminds me of is someone who's about to be shot, and they grab a child or baby and hold the baby up in front of them to try to get some type of sympathy from the shooter.
Yep.
This is an updated form of attack against the quote-unquote Second Amendment. What they truly want to do is disarm the citizens of the United States in case they have to declare martial law, so that they don't have to worry about too much resistance. And many of these high school students, they don't really know what they're being used for.
They don't.
They're just acting as interference.
They don't.
I'm going to rewind it back a little bit because I just want to go through some of the scenes that they chose to show. Alright, so now I rewound it back. Once again, brothers, like I always tell you, please pay attention to who they choose to highlight. As you can see in the box up top where it says Chicago, Illinois, they're showing basically all females. You will notice, if you pay very close attention, that the figures that they choose to exalt in all of these movements are almost always going to be homosexuals, lesbians, and women.
Follows a nationwide walkout last week inspired by the school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Students at about 3,000 schools protested gun violence.
Now look on the right-hand side for Philadelphia. They have the symbol of the heart. Now we know conventionally in this modern-day society the heart is associated with what? Love. But the heart is truly the symbol of Heru, in his reincarnation as Harpo or Harpocrates, which just means Horus the child. Once again, that's why in the film Black Panther, he utilized the heart-shaped herb. Because as I told you guys in that video, the Black Panther is supposed to represent the pharaohs of Kemet. He's supposed to represent Heru being born over and over and over again. Please understand that the priest of Asar always wore the leopard skin cloak, because that was supposed to be an allusion to him being hidden. All of the true motives behind these movements are always hidden. So it's known as the Hegelian dialectic. You have to create a controlled opposition. Many of these high school students are unwitting pawns. Am I one of these people who's going to make a video talking about this person is a crisis actor and that person is a crisis actor? No. Many of the people who want to claim everything is a hoax and everyone is a crisis actor, to be quite frank with you, they're just looking for attention. Are there crisis actors? Are there hoaxes out there that occur? Absolutely. But is everything a hoax and a crisis actor being utilized to cause confusion? No. Now, in regards to what I think about Mr. David Hogg, I will expound on that a little later in the video. But you have to understand something. You can be a witting pawn or an unwitting pawn. Everyone does not have to be in the know. And once again, do not sleep on the aspect of what they call a Manchurian candidate, a sleeper agent, someone who's under a certain form of mind control. That's what I mean when I say everyone is not a witting pawn.
I believe
that's what Mr. Nicholas Cruz was, by the way. He's what's known as a Manchurian candidate. But I'll be dealing with that aspect.
I said he was a Manchurian candidate.
I stopped right there to say that, Dave. If they made a movie about it and did it, you got what I'm saying?
You know, and really, you know, so many people go watch entertainment and they put more things into the perspective of movie.
Being entertained.
You know, or being entertained. And some shit is really real because of the issue which is at hand. It's always been at hand. It's always been this battle with the NRA and the gun lobbyists that want to, you know, ban guns, get control of guns. Hey, do the people who really misuse guns are really the legal killers in the land?
Police.
All of them. We just always just go to stand up police. Hey, that's just a cover up shit. Them motherfuckers, they do shit, but they're killing all over the place. Man, you know, do you realize how many people died in the Obama administration, man? Really died. Serving him and come up dead, dying. All that shit. And the Clinton. I mean, if you search their background, you know, and today you can Google it, so everything is in plain sight.
In plain sight, now, dog.
And see, because of the advent of shit being able to come right to you, oh, so somebody don't recognize, it will not get answered. That's the thing about this motherfucker too. I see a motherfucker. You see, you understand your control. I don't have to answer this shit. That's my. If I want to deal with that shit, I deal with it. If I don't, I don't. And most of the time, you know, I know these motherfuckers trying to come at me about, you know, how they ganked me on all this money, and they want me to give them $400 to close the account up. And you know, I could give them that shit, but I'm not gonna give it to them right now.
All I say to you on this shit, Dave, is go back to what you was thinking about, because that's some bullshit right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling. Yeah, that bullshit. However, man, listen to this dude talk though, because he make you think.
Since the deaths of 17 people at Stoneman Douglas High School last month, survivors have mobilized the Never Again movement. Their goal is to overcome political obstacles in an effort to influence gun legislation.
Be up in the White House one day,
trying to influence gun legislation. In other words, most of their other tactics haven't
These
worked.
motherfuckers gonna be fighting for that shit, man.
Teenagers are known for being persistent and annoying.
And
Let's use them. Let's use them.
Yeah.
Let's use the teenagers. They love attention. They're persistent.
Yep.
They're annoying.
Yep.
They want their lives to mean something.
Yep.
They're at that phase.
All the above.
You know, the last time that they did something like this was when the CIA sanctioned the counterculture era, in which the CIA decided that they were going to test out the effects of hallucinogenic drugs on the masses, particularly through young people, by making the use of LSD and peyote and PCP and angel dust more acceptable by promoting it through the rock groups, who were all MK Ultra assets, all monarch butterflies. You'll notice the same people who grew up in that era and were into the flower power and give peace a chance, they all grew up and
I grew up in that shit,
they
but I didn't
understood
fuck with
society on a more macrocosmic level, and they conformed.
I did conform.
That is what is going to happen with many of these young children as well. They see
conformist.
life from a very idealistic perspective. They think that things should be changed just because of their feelings, and that is what makes them so useful to run interference, to try to shame many of the upper bureaucrats and politicians into changing laws and trying to demonize the quote-unquote NRA. Brothers, you have to understand what this is really about. In Middle America, you have millions of Caucasians who would rather die than give up their machine guns. Because they wake up every day, they listen to Alex Jones, they feel their world crumbling around them. Every time they turn on the television, they see a black man or a black woman or a Hispanic man or a Hispanic woman, and they feel like they're losing their country. They believe that their government is against them, and they hold on to their automatic weapon, and they say to themselves, one day the government is going to declare martial law, they're going to try to take away our weapons, and we're not going out without a fight. That's what this is really about. And the government understands that if they were to try to confiscate the automatic weapons of most or many of the Caucasians that live in Middle America, it would result in civil war. Okay? So they have to create a pretext to justify demonizing people who own machine guns. Because the Second Amendment was created exactly for the U.S. citizens to be able to defend themselves in case the government turned upon them. It really wasn't created so people could just protect themselves in their homes.
That's the amendment.
Among the most vocal students are seniors Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg. Both were featured last night on 60 Minutes, and they join us again at the table.
Can't change it.
Now, isn't it interesting
listen to this.
that almost every member of the hashtag Never Again movement is involved in theater or drama or acting? I personally don't trust anyone that is involved in acting because what they are professional liars. I've touched on this channel before. That's all an actor is. It's really someone who conjures demons into themselves so that they can be someone else. Please understand that the god of the theater is Pan and also Bacchus. Those are the gods of the theater. Also pay attention in the background, right over the head of Mr. David Hogg on the sink there are sunflowers. Do I believe that they were strategically placed there? Possibly. The sunflower is a symbol for Shiva, also for Heru, because they are the sun gods. Well, Shiva is the destroyer god. That is just a pseudonym for Saturn or Nimrod.
Table. Good morning. Join us for the first time at the table. We are also looking forward to meeting you both. Hello. Because everyone has been praising you for your poise and your intelligence and your focus on this. Have you all had a chance to really reflect and really understand what you all are doing and what it means to the country? Do you think about that, Emma?
Let me say this before she answers. Of course, they're going to say that, yes, they've had a chance to reflect and they can't believe what they're caught up in. Let me say this. It is very clear that most of those kids, they're on a car going downhill and they couldn't get out if they wanted to. You're not going to hear the real story in regards to this quote-unquote movement until after the fact. And some of them may state that they were guided by an unseen hand in the background. You don't get enough money to lead protests unless you have backers. They may state overtly that they have denied any sponsor that wanted to take control of their movement.
And they're going to be able to say what they want them to say, not what they want to say.
They understand what it's really about. Once again, isn't it interesting that the leadership of the Never Again movement all came out of the drama class? One would think that maybe the most popular person in school or the school president would be leading it. But they're all from the drama class. Isn't that interesting? And I'm not here to call them crisis actors and all that other stuff. Everyone does not have to be a crisis actor. In regards to Mr. David Hogg, much has been made of the fact that his father is in the FBI. Do I believe that he's a so-called crisis actor? No, I don't. I think that he was strategically planted there with an understanding that he was going to commandeer the situation once their sleeper agent, their Manchurian candidate, Nicholas Cruz, actionized what they wanted him to actionize. Nicholas Cruz is on record as stating that he heard voices within his head that told him not only what to do, but how to do it. But I'll be covering that in another video. Interestingly enough, they don't report that on the mainstream news. But in regards to Mr. David Hogg, it's very clear that he has media training. I know that they claim that he's someone who wants to be in the media, but the way in which he represents himself is not something that you would normally see at a high school level of media. He seems to have professional training in how he represents himself.
I personally do, like a lot. I think about, like, in the future, this is going to happen. Like, what we're fighting for will happen because we're fighting so strongly for it. And we expect it to happen now. And with those expectations, we're going to vote out the people who aren't acting.
You're not even going to have to vote them out. They're just going to use you as the mechanism that is used to strip people of their right to bear arms, that being machine guns. Why is that important? Because as I've already stated, in case they want to declare martial law and they have to inhabit people's cities, they don't have to worry about any type of militia in Middle America trying to fight them back. But that's not going to help them because those Caucasians in Middle America, they see through a lot of the hijinks, a lot of the antics, a lot of the machinations of the higher powers. And they're not going to give up their guns without a fight. If you try to abduct their weapons, it will be a civil war in America. All right, brother? So that's really what this is about. And they're using a lot of these young kids to run interference.
They've been calling you two superheroes. They've been calling your group superheroes. Do you feel that?
I don't think we're superheroes. I think we're what every American should be. We're people that are standing up and becoming politically active in our democracy in our own way. And I think what we saw last week with that walkout is students were walking out of school, but now they're going to walk into the polls when they're able to vote, and they're going to vote these people out of office.
Is that where it next has to go, though, Emma? Because nothing right now in response to the shooting, what's your response been about what's happened legislatively in Florida and then also at the national level?
Now, before she speaks, isn't it interesting that right now we're the day before the spring equinox and another quote-unquote school shooting was, I won't say staged, but occurred in Maryland to help build up some juice for this event that is coming this Saturday. As I tell you, brothers, always watch for the equinoxes, for the solstices, for certain high holy days, as they would call it on the Wiccan calendar, because that is when they stage or execute, let me specify execute, I won't say stage, execute many of these events. And I won't say that they're not real, because they're certainly real to the people who die in them. Many people are fond of saying that these are hoaxes. No, they're not hoaxes. Their God demands real blood, not fake blood. Okay? Their God Baal, or Heru, Apollo, Asar, their God demands real blood, not fake blood.
One thing has happened in Florida, and it was positive. We got bill signed, and that was good. That's not going to stop there, though, because it's just the beginning. It was barely anything. It was important, but as Jackie said in 60 Minutes, it would not have stopped what had happened in our school. We're fighting for that change.
I think what...
Now notice how she always looks to him whenever she goes on one of her little spiels. I'm not saying that she's dumb or anything like that. She is someone who enjoys attention. That's very clear. It's clear by her appearance, by the cult of personality that she's created, by how she depicts herself with her haircut, etc. her declaration that she is a quote-unquote bisexual, aka pansexual. That's why I tell you, brothers, always watch who they choose to make the forefront or the leadership in these movements. They will almost unerringly be pansexuals. Unerringly. Why is that? Because these movements are Marxist. Marxism is Luciferianism. Read up on Stalin and Lenin and many of the early Bolshevik leaders. They were pedophiles and homosexuals. Right? Allegedly. But read up on them. There's information like that out there about them. But when you see that term movement, 99% of the time it is Marxist, aka Luciferian, aka to assist in making sure that the global government is able to run with impunity for perpetuity.
I think what's important to realize with that law, too, is there are a lot of loopholes in it. You can be 18 and buy a gun privately still under that law. And a lot of gun purchases are purchased that way. And it doesn't take care of the gun show loophole. It doesn't require a universal background check that has 97% support among constituents. It doesn't cover so many basic things that have widespread support on both sides of the aisle, and that's the part that I hate most about it.
Let me say this very quickly. This is what's known as a red herring. They're saying that they want to stop the ability of an 18-year-old to purchase a machine gun. Well, the ability to purchase a machine gun is not why the Parkland shooting occurred or why the Marjorie Stoneman shooting occurred. Let me specify. That occurred because that person, Nicholas Cruz, he was armed by a certain entity that needed to utilize him. You don't work at the job that he was working and be able to build up an armory like that. There's no way in the world that he was able to do what he did without some form of assistance or training or being armed. No way in the world. Beyond that, even if they were to change the gun laws to make it legal only for people 21 and above to purchase any form of gun or artillery, if someone who's 17 or 16 has a mental issue and they decide that they want to shoot up their school, all they have to do is steal the gun. So that's how you know that they're trying to demonize legal gun owners for an issue that's really not about people who legally arm themselves. It's about people who, number one, have some type of mental issue and also are potentially able to acquire their artillery by some form of skullduggery or by a nefarious means. But yeah, their target is definitely the legal gun owners. But they're trying to couch it in, oh, we never want this to happen again in a school. Well, black kids have been getting shot for the last 50, 60 years. Nobody has cared. That's why they have to make the face of this a Caucasian boy and a female that is sexually nebulous.
You know, one thing that stood out from your interview with 60 Minutes was you called yourself the mass shooting generation. And, you know, you think about the post 9/11 generation, right? You really put into context what you as students experienced. How has that impacted you, even before that deadly shooting? How has that impacted you on a day-to-day basis?
I think on a day-to-day basis, the fact that we even have to talk about having active shooter drills, it's distracting from our school life. It's distracting from us just trying to be American kids and live our own lives, because we're turning our schools into war zones. And when we had guns there, I think we're just going to make it even worse. Even after we included all this new legislation, we required training for all these teachers. We required psychological checks to make sure that they're okay. And we made sure that they were well trained and had background checks. Why not just do that for every single person?
I just want to point out, as a young woman, it always feels like you're living in a war zone. There's nothing that you can't be oblivious to. Wow.
A statement like that really should nullify any attempt or sentiment that would even broach the subject that she would have any credibility as someone who could be a leader. Because she's automatically going into her victim mentality altar. And not because she was present during a school shooting, but because she's supposedly a woman. Give me a break.
Walking around in the world.
No, Emma, you wrote something very moving in Harper's Bazaar. You said, my name is Emma Gonzalez. I'm 18 years old, Cuban and bisexual. I'm so indecisive that I can't pick a favorite color.
She's so indecisive that she can't pick a favorite color, and yet she's supposed to be the leader of a movement that is going to change American society as we know it. Brothers, once again, do you understand why they choose to utilize or use certain people as the faces of movements? Because they want there to be a trickle-down effect to all the other confused young girls. Yes, You deserve attention even though you don't know up from down. Those are her words, not mine. She doesn't even know what her favorite color is. She's confused by nature. She's confused about her sexuality. Once again, those are her words or her sentiments. Let me specify. And yet she's supposed to be leading a march on Washington, D.C. that is going to change the world. That is why the use of a teenager as an unwitting pawn is perfect, because they have all the characteristics that you would need. They're looking for attention, they're looking to matter, and they want to show adults that they're not as inexperienced, they're not as dumb, they're not as naive as adults would state that they are.
Allergic to 12 things, but none of this matters anymore. Were the two of you involved in student government before this happened?
No. We were science buddies.
That's my point. Now, you see what Gayle King asked them? She asked them, were you involved in government? Because Gayle King is assuming that they've taken on this mantle of leadership, that maybe they also had this mantle while in school. That's why I said, where are the political leaders? Where's the school president? How come he or she is not at the forefront of this movement? Why is everyone who is in the leadership position of the #NeverAgain movement either an actor or someone who was associated with drama in some way or some form of media presentation? I don't want a reporter leading me anywhere. That's not your job. Most reporters, quite frankly, sensationalize their storylines so that they can get attention. Where are the people that are actually accustomed to administration?
To be honest, we're kind of the nerds of the school. We're the last people that I would ever expect. Well, at least I am. Emma's always been an amazing person, I think.
Well, sir, once again, if you're the last people that you would expect to be leading this movement, why are you leading it? How come you didn't find the school president or the people who were the official leaders in school to lead this movement?
Yeah.
It's very obvious that this young lady here, Emma Gonzalez, has some type of a crush on the mayor of New York City, de Blasio. His wife is a so-called black woman who was a lesbian before she got with him. Not to digress too much, but it's always amazing how the so-called white man can break that lesbian spell that is held over the so-called black and brown woman. Ain't that a bitch? Let me rewind it back.
I would ever expect, well, at least I am. Emma's always been an amazing person, I think. I even called her the day before the shooting, just to say how, because I just finished up the documentary that I spent 2 months working on, and she played a heavy role in that. And I realized really what an amazing and dedicated person she is, and I just called her to tell her I didn't know what she was going to do next, but I knew it was going to change the world.
And how did it come about the two of you, along with others, became leaders of this movement?
Good question, Gayle.
Did you all get together? Did you all talk about it immediately? What happened?
So here's what happened there. I got a text that we're the day of the rally, right? Yeah. So David's like, these guys are going to take us out to dinner. I'm like, all right. So they're like, we're going to pick up Cameron on the way. And I'm like, cool, Cameron Cassidy, I know him. He was in Little Shop of Horrors. And
yes, he was an actor.
We go pick him up. He's not wearing pants. And he was like, give me 1 second. And that's the entire relationship with Cameron right there. It's like, usually, none of us are usually wearing the right amount of clothes.
Which rally are you talking about, Emma?
The rally where I gave the speech.
Okay. But how did it come about, though, that shortly after the shooting that the two of you really became a voice of this? That's what I'm talking about.
Now, you see, Gayle sees that there's something rotten in Denmark as well. And did you see the rather silly story that this person, Emma Gonzalez, related when asked a serious question? That's exactly why teenagers are not supposed to be leading movements, because they don't understand the world from a macrocosmic level yet. They have not experienced enough things. It's just a fact. This person, David Hogg, he's had training in regards to how to speak and how to present himself. That's clear. Once again, do I think that he's a quote-unquote crisis actor? No, I don't. But I do believe that he was a plant, that he was brought over and placed in that school for this event so that he could be brought to prominence. This is going to be used as a springboard for his own career.
And very early on, you had that videotape.
Yeah, I think the way that we really came about it.
Yes, very early on you had that videotape. That's what Gayle King said. I'm not saying that. Gayle King specified that.
About as a voice initially, but even the day of the shooting, I went on news and I did a hit with 5 million people viewing live. And then within the next couple of days, I was supposed to be on Anderson, but I was supposed to be on it again, and they didn't want me on it twice. So I called Emma and I was like, hey, you want to go on there? And that's where she did her first live interview.
Right, but David Hogg, why did you call Emma? Why didn't you call the class president? Someone who's normally accustomed to some form of leadership or representation or decision making. Why'd you call her?
Emma, what's the most encouraging thing any politician has said to you?
Actually, Ted Cruz has been pretty cool. And, you know, there have been some people on Twitter who are like, you know, keep fighting out there, but they're not actually, and I know that the wheels of bureaucracy turn very slowly, but they're not actually doing anything. At least that's what it feels like. And I feel like everybody needs to try harder. Like, politicians need to step up their act.
You wrote in your report, kids.
You know, politicians are an easy whipping boy, but you have to understand, politicians basically are like the bouncer at the club. It's not their job to help you get in the club. It's their job to really keep you out. Because they don't really have any power. Their job is just to basically tell the people what they feel like the people want to hear. That's why I tell you, brothers, you cannot look to a politician to assist the so-called black community. Politicians are like crops that you have to grow them in your own field. You have to water them, meaning what? They have to be raised understanding what their job is going to be for the so-called black community. And then you put them in power, and if they don't do what you want, then you expose them. That's how all these other communities operate. That's why certain politicians do things for certain communities, because they know that if they don't, their file's going to be opened, they're going to be exposed. It's not the job of a community to ask a politician what they're going to do. It's the job of a community to tell a politician what they're going to do. I'm going to say it again. It's not the job of a community to ask a politician what they're going to do. It's the job of a community to tell a politician what they're going to do. And if not, they're going to be exposed, embarrassed, and totally disenfranchised.
Kids are acting like adults, and adults are acting like kids.
Mm-hmm. Because kids have become a dirty word. Like, you're acting like children. That's offensive. It's to be called a child. And
that's the new catchphrase now. Whenever anything is spoken that somebody doesn't like, they claim that it is quote-unquote offensive to try to shame you out of speaking the truth. To be quite frank with you, this young lady here is very immature. That's extremely obvious. Especially when you see how she responded to Gayle King's very serious question. No one cares about the fact that you picked up your actor friend and he had no pants on. All that shows is that he's not really sincere either. They're just able to deliver their lines very well.
And in fact, we've been raised in this school environment to show what an adult should be. We're being raised and we're being pushed into the real world so quickly. We're never learned how to balance a checkbook. We learned how to balance a checkbook in 5th grade. So we're expected to know all this stuff when we leave high school, just in case we don't make it to college.
I think what's important to realize here is that the one thing that the NRA is trying to push right now is they're trying to make sure that we forget about this. They expect...
Now, did you see after she went on her little spiel, David Hogg understood that, okay, I have to reel her back in. That's how you know that she's just a prop. It's very important that they shine a light on her because they understand that she's going to be an inspiration to many of the other sexually confused young females out there that are looking for attention.
Our generation to have a short attention span, and we are not going to let that happen, because the second that we forget about this, it can and it will be you.
Which is one of the reasons why you delayed the rally, the nationwide rally for this coming up Saturday. We've heard your voices loud and clear. What is your message to other high school students across the country who also are part of the mass shooting generation?
Get out there and vote?
Yeah, our message is make sure that you get out there and vote. Make sure that you are registered to vote so you can vote in primaries, and make sure that you stay educated for the rest of your life, because the seeds of corruption and greed are always being sowed. It's our duty as a democracy to make sure that they don't sprout.
You're both getting death threats. Does that deter?
That sounds like a nice little speech that he wrote right before the interview. And he was told, after you get asked this question, you can deliver that line. Very well delivered. Let me rewind it back.
Does that deter?
Get out there and vote?
Yeah, our message is make sure that you get out there and vote. Make sure that you are registered to vote so you can vote in primaries, and make sure that you stay educated for the rest of your life, because the seeds of corruption and greed are always being sowed. It's our duty as a democracy to make sure that they don't sprout.
You're both getting death threats. Does that deter you?
No.
Not at all.
Everybody gets death threats at some point in their life, I feel.
I agree with that. As long as you speak strong, certain people are going to threaten you. There's no doubt about that.
I feel. Be it from a stalker.
That's how we know what we're doing matters.
Yeah.
People want to stop us.
They're attacking us personally because they can't find fault in our message.
Well, I could find fault in your message. That's not very difficult. If somebody wants to execute a mass shooting, they don't have to purchase a gun legally. As a matter of fact, you'll most likely find that most of the mass shootings that will occur or can occur, it's not going to be very hard for them to get a gun. All they have to do is pay someone else to buy the gun for them. Or just steal one. It won't really be that difficult if someone truly wants to execute a mass shooting. What this truly is a very ingenious recalibration on their tactics to try to demonize the legal gun owners across America. What they've been doing is they've had many of their Manchurian candidates executing mass shootings amongst adults or even children. But then they would have adults be the ones that are protesting the legal gun ownership, particularly those who own machine guns. So what they did was they recalculated what a proper strategy would be to try to shame legal gun owners into relenting and giving up their guns. And they said, okay, well, maybe the next time we have a Manchurian candidate execute a mass shooting, we can have kids lead the protest. Because what that would do is that may possibly shame the masses of America into agreeing with the sentiment that people should be disarmed. So it's very, very well thought out. Allegedly. That's just my view of it. And to me, it's not that difficult to figure out.
Every single angle. Everybody knows on a certain level that this is unacceptable. And it should never have happened. Like, for 20 years, it should never have happened.
A lot of people are listening to what you all have to say. Emma Gonzalez, David Hogg, thank you very much for coming to the table this morning. Emma and David, as you know, are among the student activists featured in the new CBS primetime documentary. It's called 39 Days. CBS News embedded with the students in the weeks after the Stoneman Douglas shooting as they turn their grief into action. The March for Our Lives in Washington will take place 39 days after the tragedy, and you can watch 39 Days Saturday night at 9, 8 Central, right here on CBS.
Look, let me say this. It's very clear that this entire situation has been coordinated. There's a reason why they choose to highlight the number 39. As I've already stated from the very beginning, and this goes all the way back to the video that I did on Valentine's Day. Once again, the Lupercalia is a day of very high resonance where you have to offer blood to Pan, a.k.a. the Baphomet as he's known today. In the ancient world, when they celebrate the Lupercalia, they had to sacrifice human beings on Mount Lycopolis. Also, if you notice, and I may have mentioned this already, this year the Lupercalia fell on what they call Ash Wednesday, in which the people who go to the Catholic Church, they get the cross put on their foreheads for Tammuz. Please understand that people weep for 40 days for Tammuz, which is why you see that number 39. Right? Of course, the 40th day represents the completion of the weeping for Tammuz. But anyway, we'll see where this goes. I'm sure that this narrative is not going to come to an end anytime soon. They are going to ratchet it up. But anyway, peace. Alright, man, peace. So on March 18th, a so-called young black man by the name of Stephon Clark was gunned down by the Sacramento police force who were responding to a report that there was a young man vandalizing property in the neighborhood. In the aftermath of the young man's death, it was revealed that the officers allegedly mistook his cell phone for a gun. This event has instigated the reemergence of the Black Lives Matter, aka the Black Lesbians Matter movement, which took it upon themselves to bar the paying customers who were hoping to attend the Sacramento Kings game that night from being able to access the venue. Thereafter, the owner of the Sacramento Kings, Vivek Ranadive, issued a statement for the game in an attempt to appease the attempts to cause discord. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
This is SportsCenter right now. I'm Liberty. On Sunday, Sacramento police officers shot and killed 22-year-old Stephon Clark in his grandmother's backyard at the end of a chase in which officers mistook Clark's cell phone for a gun.
Brothers, let me say this very quickly. I'm going to wait for more details on this issue to arise. But let me say this, please, especially for brothers who come on my channel for 14, 15, 16, 20 years old, 21 years old, 22 years old. What groups like the Black Lesbians Matter movement want to do is they want to play up the self-victimization mentality that is currently part of the so-called black man's programming. The reason why they want to do that is so that they can keep you feeling mentally and spiritually impotent, so that you feel powerless. So now every time you walk down the street, you're supposed to be scared that a police officer is going to shoot you. That's not what life is about. Living in fear is not what life is about. And groups like the Black Lesbians Matter movement are fearmongers. Once again, they want to use you to attain their own ends, which is a quasi-black matriarchy with lesbian leadership. That's all it's about. And for those of you who don't believe me, go on the Black Lives Matter website. They'll tell you that themselves. They try to play up this nonsense, and they want to make every so-called black man out to be a victim and someone who should be running for his life every time he sees a police officer. Let me say this, brothers, and I may lose certain people with this, but when you decide to engage in criminality, and I'm not saying that Stephon Clark was necessarily engaging in criminality, but when you decide to embark on that life choice, the legacy that you leave is going to be as a criminal. I don't care how they try to dust it off, how they try to clean it up, claim that he was a great father, he was loved by his grandparents, by his brother, by his daughter. None of that matters now because he's gone. And if they come to find out that he was just walking home from the corner store, or if they find out that he was vandalizing other people's property, either way he's gone. So that's why I try to implore brothers when I make these videos to always think about the decisions that they make. Life is not about living in fear, and they're trying to create this dynamic amongst so-called black men that they should be scared of everything and everyone, like they should be scared of the cops all the time. When you're out in the street, you should be moving with a purpose, not just standing around seeing what you can get into or trying to act as if you have no choices and no options in your life. All life is a series of choices, man. None of us are perfect. But what they're trying to do with the so-called black men, they're trying to engineer you to believe that you should be scared of everyone and everything. And that you should throw your lot in with a group like the Black Lives Matter movement, which is all about empowering lesbians over you and homosexuals over you. They want you to fight their battles and their wars for them, so that once they have taken the role that has been promised to them by the liberal Caucasians that are bankrolling them, they're going to kick your ass to the side. I promise you that.
Citizens' reaction to that killing had a direct impact on the only pro team in town. A day after police released body cam footage of that fatal shooting, protesters organized a march Thursday that...
Now look at these simpletons. Is this supposed to be what so-called black leadership is aspiring to? I guarantee you, if you were to ask any of these people here who are participating in this quote-unquote protest what their overall plan is, they have none. They have none. Brothers, at the end of the day, the so-called black man and his image is based around his physicality as opposed to his cognitive function. They don't want you to be valued for your brain. And to be quite frank with you, when they put forth images like this with idiots like this, that's to foster that image of the so-called black man, that reputation that he's all brawn and no brains. Because these people are fucking morons. And I know certain people are not going to like that. I don't give a shit. All the Black Lesbians Matter movement is about is creating a red herring, a distraction, so that the real leaders of the so-called black community are rendered null and void, because you're expected to co-sign all this nonsense. That's why you got to have all these idiots on the internet. Whenever you don't co-sign this nonsense, they want to call everybody a coon. Because they clown asses want to aggressively beg the so-called white man for a hug, as opposed to doing the things that need to be done to improve the so-called black community, because they don't have the discipline to do it. None of these motherfuckers don't have discipline. Look at them.
It began at City Hall and culminated outside the Golden One Center.
Look at this dude. Would you trust this dude to do anything that will lead to progress in the so-called black community?
where the Kings were scheduled to host the Hawks at 7 p.m. local time. The protesters blocked fans from entering the arena. Ultimately, after a nearly half-hour delay to tip-off, the Kings beat